Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Carly catches Jocelyn and Vaughn together. Does daughter fake having new boyfriend? General Hospital teasers indicate that Carly Spencer may catch Jocelyn Jax and Vaughn together. Will Carly's daughter pretend to have a new boyfriend to throw Carly off track? Vaughn intends to spend more time on the PCU campus now that he has been exposed to Jocelyn's social circle. Of course, Vaughn and Jocelyn will continue to meet privately about her WSB assignment. Carly will most likely see Jocelyn and Vaughn together at some point. That will naturally raise suspicions for Carly, who may conclude that Vaughn is someone Jocelyn is dating. Carly may become concerned if she believes Jocelyn is rushing into a new relationship before adequately mourning Dex Heller. Carly may also be concerned because Vaughn is slightly older than Jocelyn. Most of all, Carly may be irritated that Jocelyn has not mentioned the new guy in her life. Carly may feel left out, leading her to wonder what more Jocelyn is withholding from her. When Carly becomes suspicious, Jocelyn may have to cover her tracks. Whether Jocelyn goes so far as to name Vaughn her boyfriend or not, she could certainly feign a romance with him. It's better for Carly to think that than to delve too deeply for the truth. Jack Brennan may even force Jocelyn and Vaughn into this fictitious dating situation, if he believes it will assist them avoid blowing their secret. However, GH fans are aware that Vaughn and Jocelyn spent some time developing closer at the campfire. Jocelyn no longer fits in with her former life, and Vaughn is the only one who understands how she feels. Now that Vaughn and Jocelyn are truly bonding, it could pave the way for them to date for real. Perhaps a phony romance will eventually bring Jocelyn and Vaughn down a more true romantic path. Regardless, Carly noticed Jocelyn in an emotional moment with Vaughn and questioned her daughter in the aftermath. Jocelyn may have to market Vaughn as boyfriend material at some point, so keep an eye out for her love forecasts. According to General Hospital spoilers, Jocelyn may have to lie her way out of trouble, while also informing Carly of some significant news, so we'll keep you updated on any craziness that may ensue. Daniel Goddard, Henry Dalton's new professor on General Hospital, recently uploaded a thirst trap photo, and ABC viewers hope their professors like him. Read on to view the photo and the reactions to the Studley professor. Fit, hot, and appreciated. Daniel headed to Instagram over the weekend and shared a shirtless photo of himself flaunting his abs. He wore jeans and a big metal belt. Meanwhile, he inclined his head forward to show off his powerful neck muscles and clean haircut, which had weakened stubble on his upper lip. Thirsty fans react. In the comments portion of the photo that was set to the tune of West Side Gun's Einstein Kitchen, one ABC fan said, "Wow, I wish I had a professor who looked like you." Another user agreed, saying, "Like a stallion, fit, trim, and model stealin' looking hot, great muscles. You have it going on." Here are a few further reactions. Daniel Goddard, the actor who plays Professor Henry Dalton on GH, was a familiar figure to Genoa City residents. That's because an alum from The Young and the Restless has joined the ABC show. So far, admirers can tell there's something off with gorgeous Port Charles University professor Henry Dalton. Emma Scorpio Drake referenced her environmental physics teacher, Professor Dalton, in the April 10th edition to Gio Palmieri. During the presentation, Vaughn discussed her first WSB assignment with Jocelyn Jax, and informed her that she would be enrolled in the same course. As a result, Goddard was planned to play an important role in Joss and Emma's new plot. Interacting with ABC viewers, the daytime drama show had fans wondering what was within Professor Henry Dalton's mysterious briefcase. Fortunately, Daniel chose to put the subject to his followers and offer a prize for the best fan response. After posting a video of Professor Dalton holding the briefcase, Goddard urged viewers to share their ideas about its contents. Fans adore it when the cast engages with their following, as Daniel does. What are your thoughts on the thirst trap photo that Daniel Goddard shared? Do you ever wish you had a lecturer like Henry Dalton? Do you enjoy how he encourages contact from his fans? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And check back frequently for the latest General Hospital cast news and updates. Today we send healing thoughts to Laura Wright of General Hospital. The actress is now healing from a knee injury sustained while doing one of her favorite things, playing pickleball. The ABC soap veteran told Soap Opera Digest about the mishap and how she was compelled to take a break and unwind. though she frequently participates in the sport with her long-term lover Wes Ramsey. This time the event occurred during a singles match. I went to run up and I did some weird movement with the backhand, Wright said. He continued. But I crossed my leg over and my knee popped out of joint and back in. It didn't stay out, it just popped out and back in real quick. While no swelling emerged as one might expect, it left the actress sore. Wright has difficulty with any side-to-side motion and has been wearing a brace while she recovers. And the good news is that she is not in any pain anymore. In fact, after the accident, she spent 4 days strolling around the grounds of the Indian Wells tennis event. However, the situation changed. Carly's world was turned upside down when she walked in on Jocelyn and Vaughn. The sight of them, so near and intimate, caused a deep aching in her chest. She had always trusted her daughter, but this was something she did not expect. Jocelyn had been acting strangely lately. More secretive, more distant, but Carly had dismissed it as normal teenage behavior. Standing in the doorway, paralyzed in awe, she knew there was far more going on than she could have imagined. Vaughn, a man Carly had formerly considered a friend, appeared equally astonished. He stepped back, his face a mix of remorse and defiance. Jocelyn, on the other hand, did not appear to be as shaken. Instead, she met her mother's stare with a weird composure, as if she had anticipated the meeting. The tension in the room was heavy and oppressive, and Carly tried to find the appropriate words. "What is going on here?" Carly eventually asked, her voice quivering with fury and hurt. Jocelyn paused for only a second before responding. "Mom, it's not what you think." "Then explain it to me," Carly said, crossing her arms. "Because from where I'm standing it looks like you're involved with Vaughn. A man twice your age, someone I trusted." Vaughn opened his lips to say, but Jocelyn stopped him. "We were just talking," she replied immediately. "It's not like that at all." Carly was not convinced. She had noticed how they were standing and how Vaughn's hand was resting on Jocelyn's arm. There was an intimacy there that could not be easily explained. "Jocelyn, I am not foolish. If there's anything going on between you two, I want to know." Jocelyn sighed and ran a hand through her hair, frustrated. "Fine. If you truly want to know, Vaughn isn't who I'm seeing." Carly blinked, taken off guard. "What?" "I have a boyfriend," Jocelyn explained, her tone stern. "But it isn't Vaughn. He was just giving me advice." Carly's thoughts raced. This was an unexpected twist for her. "Who is it then?" she asked. "Who's this mystery boyfriend you've been hiding?" Jocelyn paused again, and Carly wondered if she was making it up on the spot. Was this just a cover story to keep her from learning the truth about Vaughn? "His name is Drew," Jocelyn finally explained. "He attends a separate school. That is why you have not met him yet." Carly narrowed her gaze. "Drew? How long has this gone on?" "A few weeks," Jocelyn said, her voice lacking conviction. Vaughn shuffled uneasily, plainly wishing to be somewhere other than in the thick of this conversation. Carly examined her daughter's face, looking for any indication of lying. Jocelyn was always a terrific liar when she was younger, but Carly believed she could still read her. "If that's true," Carly continued slowly, "then why were you and Vaughn acting so secretive?" Jocelyn shrugged. "Because I knew you'd flip out if you saw me speaking with him. Mom, you've been so overprotective recently. I did not want to face with another interrogation." Carly felt a sting of shame at this. She had become more watchful since Jocelyn began dating, but solely to keep her safe. Was she actually being unreasonable? "I just want you to be careful," Carly explained, her voice softening slightly. "You're young, and sometimes emotions can cloud your judgment." Jocelyn rolled her eyes. "I understand, Mom, but I'm no longer a small kid. I can handle myself." Carly wanted to believe her, but something still didn't seem right. If Jocelyn was actually seeing Drew, why hadn't she acknowledged him earlier? Why was Vaughn involved at all? Vaughn sensed the tension and finally spoke up. "Carly, I swear, there is nothing going on between us. Jocelyn came to me for advice about her relationship. That is all." Carly wanted to trust him, but the way he looked at Jocelyn was something she couldn't ignore. Nonetheless, without proof, she had no choice but to let it go, for now. "Fine," she replied after a lengthy pause. "But I'd like to meet this Drew. Soon." Jocelyn's eyes opened slightly. "What? Why?" Because if he's important to you, then I should know who he is, she said. Jocelyn hesitated and then nodded. Okay. I'll ask him if he can come over this weekend. Carly looked at her daughter's face one last time before turning to leave. As she went away, her mind raced with unresolved questions. Was Jocelyn speaking the truth? Or was this really an elaborate fabrication to conceal something far worse? Carly kept a careful eye on Jocelyn over the following several days. Her daughter's conduct was strange. More clandestine texts, unexpected outings with acquaintances she hadn't mentioned before. Carly's suspicions rose, but she refused to accuse Jocelyn without evidence. Then, the day before Drew's scheduled visit, Carly overheard Jocelyn on the phone. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up, Jocelyn said quietly. She's going to find out eventually. Carly's heart fell. Find out what? Was Drew even real? The next evening, a young man arrived at their house and introduced himself as Drew. He was kind, articulate, and appeared genuinely interested in Jocelyn. Carly couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Jocelyn's demeanor around him, too stiff, too formal, didn't feel like a genuine relationship. After Drew had left, Carly confronted Jocelyn again. Is there something you're not telling me? Jocelyn averted her sight. No, Mom. Everything is fine. But Carly knew better. She had spent years reading people, and her instincts told her that this was all a ruse. The question was why. Days passed into weeks, and Carly's anxiety only worsened. Then one night, she received an anonymous tip. A photo of Vaughn and Jocelyn together that was far too close for comfort. The timestamp was set after Drew reportedly entered the picture. Carly's greatest fears were confirmed. Jocelyn had lied. This time, confronting her daughter was more difficult. The betrayal slashed deep. How could you do this? Carly demanded, throwing the photo onto the table. Jocelyn's cheeks turned pale. Mom, I can explain. No more lies, Carly said, her voice breaking. I trusted you. And you squandered away that trust for what? A flirtation with an elderly man? Do you know how dangerous this is? Jocelyn's eyes were filled with tears. It is not like that. Vaughn cares about me. He listens to me like no one else does. Carly felt nauseous. This was exactly what she had feared. Vaughn had used her daughter's vulnerability. He is exploiting you, Jocelyn. You are too young to see it. You don't know him. Jocelyn shouted. You don't know anything. The brawl that ensued was nasty. Harsh words were exchanged, doors were slammed, and Carly was left wondering if their relationship could ever be mended. In the following days, Carly tried everything she could to keep Vaughn away from Jocelyn. She threatened legal action, cautioned him to stay away, and even contacted his family. But the harm had been done. Jocelyn refused to speak with her, believing that Carly was the enemy. What is the worst part? Carly couldn't shake her remorse. Had she drove Jocelyn away by being overly controlling? Had she overlooked the signs earlier? Jocelyn's behavior became increasingly irregular over the weeks. Jocelyn skipped school and stayed out all night, and when Carly attempted to interfere, she accused her of ruining her life. Then one day Jocelyn vanished. Carly's world shattered. She looked everywhere and called everyone, but nobody had seen her. The police were involved, but leads were limited. It was not until a week later that Carly received a call from a hospital in another state. Jocelyn had been found, alone, afraid, and finally ready to speak. When Carly came, Jocelyn burst into tears in her arms. I apologize, Mom. I was incredibly stupid. Carly hugged her tightly, tears spilling down her cheeks. It's fine, baby. We'll figure it out together. The truth emerged in parts. Vaughn had been manipulating Jocelyn, convincing her that he was the only person who understood her. Drew had served as a distraction, causing Carly to lose track of the situation. But when Vaughn knew Carly was after him, he abandoned Jocelyn, leaving her sad and hopeless. The road to rehabilitation was long. Therapy, family counseling, and many unpleasant conversations ensued. But gradually, trust began to resurface. Carly learned a painful lesson. Sometimes love requires letting go, even when every instinct tells her to grab on tighter. And Jocelyn discovered that not every man who claims to care has her best interests in mind. Ultimately, it strengthened their friendship. But the scars remained, a reminder of how easily trust can be lost, and how difficult it is to regain. General Hospital spoilers for Wednesday, May 7th, state that Lulu Spencer will consider a Giovanni Gio Palmieri jigsaw piece, while Brooke Lynn Quartermaine makes a confession. Rocco Falconeri will also receive a special visitor, so let us discuss what's coming up in Port Charles. To begin, Emma Scorpio Drake will confide in Jocelyn Jacks, who will be anxious to learn everything she can about Emma's unusual fixation with Professor Henry Hank Dalton and this research assistant position. Following that, Jocelyn and Vaughn will meet with Jack Brennan, who will most likely request a progress report before informing them of any developments on their task. Brennan will also express some concerns about Emma, including the chance that she will become suspicious. Jocelyn and Vaughn will have to work extra hard to disguise their tracks as they pursue Professor Dalton's information, but Emma may notice warning indications eventually. Meanwhile, Brooke Lynn will confess to Harrison Chase, which should include her choice to inform Tracy Quartermaine about giving up her firstborn child for adoption. Of course, Brooke Lynn did not tell Tracy who the biological father was, thus she may have predicted to Chase that her son's paternity would remain a secret. However, Lois Cerullo may be making a mess of things at GH, where she simply spoke too much while defending Gio. Since Lois said that Dante Falconeri was unaware of Joe's true identity, Dante would force her to expose it. Lois may make a nervous explanation to justify her error. Lois could easily rattle off some examples from Joe's past to demonstrate his main competency. Lois will not admit that Dante is Joe's father, but her strange statement piqued Lulu's interest. Lulu appears to have found another piece of the puzzle, bringing her closer to Dante and Joe's father-son reveal. Meanwhile, Lulu will admonish Dante for being too harsh on Gio given the circumstances. Gio should have phoned 911 or Rocco's parents right once, but he underestimated the gravity of the issue. Dante just needs someone to blame, so he's been venting his fear-fueled Rocco wrath on Gio. Brooke Lynn may also receive updates on something that perplexes her, so she may discover Dante is upset with Gio, and press Lois to explain what happened. When Gio sees Emma again, he will have a lot to tell her. Emma will soothe Gio over the terrible scenario, and deliver a pep talk following Dante's tantrums. In his hospital room, Rocco will also have another visitor. Laura Collins will be the next person to stop by, so she'll ask Rocco to explain what happened. Alexis Davis appears to be preparing a fake explanation for why Ava Jerome and Rick Lansing are present. Christina Corinthos Davis will bring up the recent automobile accident and try to disguise her guilt, but Ava and Rick are already aware she is to blame. Despite this, Rick and Ava appear to be leaving without informing Christina about their blackmail strategy. Finally, Christina will wish for peace with Alexis. Despite learning about the documents to have her committed, Christina does not want it to damage her connection with her mother or disrupt the recent excellent improvements in their family. General Hospital spoilers indicate that Alexis will accept Christina's peace offering, so she may remain silent about the cut breaks drama and how much she actually knows. The General Hospital update for Tuesday, May 6th, says that Carly Spencer will uncover a startling discovery, while Christina Corinthos Davis receives a reality check. Rocco Falconeri will also apologize, so there will be a lot of action on the ABC serial. Diane Miller will be remorseful for her role in the recent turmoil with Christina and Molly Lansing Davis, once Alexis Davis updates her on the current developments. Diane should have taken rid of the documents so Christina could commit when Alexis ordered her to, but instead she allowed them slip into Molly's hands. Christina now learns Alexis nearly imprisoned her, and she, like Molly, is furious over the news. Diane may try to help repair the damage, but Alexis may believe it is her responsibility to make things right with her girls. Despite her family's current strife, Alexis will make some predictions about how to go forward. Meanwhile, Christina will bring Lucky Spencer up to speed, so he'll give Christina a reality check and urge her to see that Alexis was right to be concerned about her going off the rails. Christina may be in need of psychiatric care after what she'd done, so Lucky will remind her of the failed Ava Jerome auto-sabotage scheme. Since Christina nearly killed two innocent individuals, Rick Lansing and Elizabeth Baldwin, Lucky will help her understand that Alexis' concerns are valid. By the end of this conversation, Christina will have decided to forgive Alexis and make a peace offering. Of course, Christina is unaware of Ava's blackmail strategy, so Alexis may want to keep it that way for fear of her daughter losing power all over again. Rick may have questions about his current arrangement with Ava, but she will remind him that they are in this together. Willow Corinthos may be able to identify the person she suspects is responsible for Drew's setup at Nina Reeves. Will Willow suspect it's Carly Spencer or Tracy Quartermaine? Willow will be wrong anyway, because Nina is the mastermind behind the Jacinda plot, which she collaborated on with Portia Robinson. At GH, Brad Cooper will negotiate with Drew Kane, who should be eager to deliver money and whatever else Brad requires. In exchange, Brad is ready to spill the beans about Portia going into Drew's medical records and ordering the perfect dose of ketamine. While Drew gathers critical information, Lois Cerullo rushes to Giovanni Gio Palmieri's defense. Dante Falconeri will chastise Gio for not taking Rocco Falconeri to the hospital right away, claiming it will be Joe's fault if Rocco isn't fine. Although Dante threatens legal action, Lois will stand up for Gio and try to persuade Dante that this was not his fault. When they finish pumping Rocco's stomach and he feels better, he'll apologize. Rocco will be guilty for scaring Dante and Lulu Spencer, but he may also apologize to Gio for getting him into this predicament. Carly will then learn Danny Morgan's role in Rocco's latest dilemma. After Danny admits his remorse, Carly will confront him and press him to accept responsibility for his actions. According to General Hospital spoilers, Danny may assume responsibility for Rocco's misery, because he pressured him to attend the bonfire. So keep an eye out for Dante and Lulu's reactions. Nina's refusal to reveal the truth about Drew's unlawful detention is yet another example of her putting her selfish interests before of honesty and accountability. She knew Victor Cassadine was manipulating Carly and Drew, but she chose to remain silent, leaving Drew to suffer in prison while she protected herself. This deception is especially terrible because it affects Willow's husband, Michael Corinthos, who has worked relentlessly to bring Drew home. If Willow realizes that Nina knew the truth all along but said nothing, the betrayal will be much more devastating than before. Willow's life is characterized by a reoccurring theme of forgiveness. She has forgiven Michael for concealing Wiley's paternity, Harmony for her manipulative behavior, and even attempted to move past Nina's previous betrayals. But every act of forgiveness has limitations. Willow's goodwill should not be confused for weakness. She has seen enough deception to last a lifetime, and Nina's latest crimes may be unforgivable. The main issue is trust. Willow has repeatedly shown grace to Nina, hoping that her mother will eventually choose honesty over self-preservation. However, Nina has often failed to achieve this basic expectation. Trust, once destroyed, is impossible to recover, and with each new deception, the foundation of their relationship collapses even more. If Willow discovers that Nina let Drew, a guy she considers family, to languish in prison out of anger or fear, all residual hope for reconciliation may be dashed. Another factor is Michael's impact. Michael has never truly trusted Nina, and for good reason. He has seen directly how her secrets and machinations have harmed the people he cares about. If he discovers that Nina knew of Drew's innocence but did nothing, he will be furious. Willow and Michael are so close that his emotions will undoubtedly influence her own. If Michael refuses to forgive Nina, Willow may feel forced to support her husband, further alienating Nina from the family she longs to be a part of. Nina's intentions are also important to understand. Was her silence entirely selfish, or did she truly believe she had no choice? If she feared Victor's revenge or considered that speaking up might endanger others, her actions may have been justified. However, given her history of lying, particularly with Carly and Sonny, it is difficult to give her the benefit of the doubt. Willow may hard to understand Nina's actions as anything other than a determined attempt to protect herself at the expense of others. The emotional cost to Willow cannot be underestimated. She's already gone through so much: cancer, near-death experiences, and constant turmoil in her family life. Discovering that her own mother contributed to Drew's agony could be the ultimate blow. Willow's health has always been precarious, and the stress of this betrayal could have disastrous results. Nina's actions not only have an impact on her relationship with Willow, but they may also jeopardize her daughter's safety once more. Is there a route to forgiveness? Willow would need more than an apology, true contrition and a determination to change. Nina would have to demonstrate by consistent acts that she is no longer the woman who conceals the truth to further her own goals. She would need to show genuine accountability, not just empty platitudes. Even so, forgiveness isn't assured. Some wounds are too deep, and Willow may decide that keeping her own peace means severing ties with Nina for good. The Corinthos family is notorious for carrying grudges, and Michael is no exception. If he determines Nina is unredeemable, Willow may follow suit. The couple has built their marriage on mutual trust and solidarity, and if Michael perceives Nina as a threat to their family's stability, Willow may agree. Willow's choice between her husband and her mother would be heartbreaking, but considering Nina's track record, she may elect to stay faithful to Michael. Finally, the outcome of the situation will determine whether Willow can forgive Nina. If Nina accepts full responsibility, demonstrates genuine regret, and makes significant restitution, there may be a glimpse of hope. However, if she continues to shift blame, downplay her conduct or worse, lie again, any prospect of reconciliation is lost. Willow's heart may be generous, but even the most forgiving soul has its limits. The truth of Drew's imprisonment is a ticking time bomb, and when it goes off, the consequences will be horrific. Willow's willingness to forgive Nina is dependent on Nina's capacity to finally break the cycle of deception and prove herself worthy of a second opportunity. However, given the pain she has inflicted, the odds are not in her favor. Some betrayals run too deep, and some scars are too raw. And for Willow, this could be the betrayal that ends any hope of a genuine mother-daughter bond. The room was thick with tension, the kind that clung to the air like humidity before a storm. Brooke Lynn stood at the window, her fingers nervously tracing the edge of the curtain, as if looking for an anchor. She had mentally rehearsed this moment 100 times, but now that it was here, the words felt foreign, trapped in her throat like a betrayal she couldn't swallow. Across from her, Dante observed with that calm focus that made her feel as if he could see right through her carefully crafted barricade. She'd always been good at portraying the confident, self-assured Quartermaine, but tonight the mask was sliding. "I need to tell you something," she said, her voice lower than normal and almost hesitant, the weight of what she was going to divulge crushed against her chest. She had kept a secret for far too long. It wasn't just about her. It was about Lulu, the accident, and the puzzle pieces that still did not fit. Dante's countenance changed slightly, with a flicker of concern crossing his face. He had spent months looking for answers, clinging to every potential lead in the aftermath of Lulu's accident. And now Brooke Lynn was standing here, preparing to reveal a portion of the truth that she had kept hidden. She took a long breath to steady herself. "It's about Gio." The name hung in the air between them, loaded with connotations. Dante's jaw tightened almost imperceptible, but she noticed it. His body tensed, his fingers curled slightly at his sides. Gio had been a loose thread in the investigation, a name that had been mentioned but never completely explained. Brooke Lynn had known more than she had admitted, and now that Lulu's life was still in danger, the guilt was too much to take. "I knew he was involved," she said, lowering her gaze to the floor. "Not in the way you think, not immediately. But I overheard something. A discussion I wasn't intended to hear." The words replayed in her head like a broken record. She had gone to the Metro Court that night, slipping into the hallway outside one of the private conference rooms, drawn by the sound of conversations. Gio had been there, his voice shrill and aggressive. At first she hadn't paid much attention. Gio was always up to something, but then she heard Lulu's name. That had completely halted her. Dante took a step closer, his voice low and forceful. "What have you heard, Brooke Lynn?" There was no accusation in his tone yet, but she could sense it coming. She had waited too long to come forward, and every second of her uncertainty felt like a betrayal. "They were arguing," she explained, swallowing hard. Gio was upset about money or a failed transaction. He said Lulu was getting too near, that she was asking too many questions. The inference was obvious. Lulu's probe into Joe's transactions had put her in danger. Brooke Lynn knew that much, but she had no idea how far Gio would go. She had convinced herself that wasn't her responsibility, and Lulu could manage herself. But then the accident happened and everything started falling into place. Dante's expression hardened. "And you didn't think of telling anyone?" The question was more than just professional, it was personal. Lulu was his wife and mother of his children. Every day she stayed in that coma brought more unanswered questions, anguish and frustration. And Brooke Lynn knew something that could have helped. "I should have," she said softly, her voice breaking. "I understand that now. But at the time I didn't consider it serious. Gio was constantly talking big and making threats he didn't mean. Think.